Hello everybody, or welcome back to my channel. Today I have a highly requested video. I never thought I'd get to say that, but I have a highly requested video of what you can do to warm up effectively before a run. A lot of my friends during the last couple of months of lockdown and staying inside and having to exercise, not in a gym, have taken up running, which makes me so happy. I've been running for mind, body and soul for at least the last 2.5 years. I try and clock up, when I work on the ship, I try and do at least 10, 15K a day. And when I'm at home, I try and do about 20 to 50K a day, depending on the mood, depending on the time I have. So using this, as well as everything I've learned from my personal training qualification, I thought I'd put together a quick little video and show you some moves that you can do before your run to get you ready, and then after your run to kind of cool down the body and make sure that you're feeling fit and well for the rest of the day. A lot of the time you can have runner's injury due to perhaps an imbalance when you're running. For example, if you have pain in your left knee, that might be due to a weakness or a tightness on the right side of your body, and vice versa. So what we're hoping to do by these moves in terms of warming up is to make sure that our hips are nice and ready, our knees are feeling prepared, our ankles, our feet, as well as then making sure that our hip flexors and glutes are engaged and ready to take on a nice long run and support us and make sure we have good posture and that we're propelling ourselves forward, but we're feeling good while doing it. So let's show some of the moves. All right, guys, let's get on to the main meat of the warm-up. You join me in front of my door where I have my trainers ready to rock and roll. And this is where I do my quick little ditty. If I only have a couple of minutes before I head out on my run, I'll just do these little moves. I'll explain as I go through them why we're doing them, and I'll try and hopefully it makes sense from seeing it from this distance away. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to focus on our hips. When we're running, we want to make sure that our hips are as even as possible. We don't want to be dipping down as we're running, because that will cause a lot of strain in the IT band and then have a knock-on effect onto our knees. And like I'm saying, if we, for example, are dipping down on our left, we might get right knee pain. So you want to make sure that your hips are nice and strong and stable, and this is a great way to warm them up as well as strengthen them. You're just going to need a slight step. From here, you're going to put all your weight onto the leg on the stair, so you're almost like dumping the weight into that hip, and the movement is just going to come from here. You're just literally bringing it back up to level and down. This is important because it means that those hip flexors are going to be nice and strong, which is important for making sure that we have our hips level, because any sort of bilateral movement, that's when we can then get pain in our IT band and in our knee. So this is a great way, warm up those hip flexors as well as make sure they are nice and strong for the run ahead. Next, we're staying on the staircase or anything that's kind of like a block up. You're going to make sure that you have a slight right angle, but it's raised, and you're just going to lean into that bent leg with your leg tracking over your foot. I realise it's quite hard to see, and you're just going to lean into it, feeling it in your IT band, feeling it in your calf on the straight leg. And again, just like this. So again, we're just opening up those hips, getting them ready to be mobile, to be moving. As well, we're warming up those hamstrings and those calves, because again, as we know, muscles work in pairs. The muscles are the largest muscles in our body, so we have to make sure they are warm, ready, strong, ready to go. Lovely, just like that. Now, if you have a bit more time and a bit more equipment, you can get a booty band and a mat. And from here, we are going to do some pre-activation work of our glutes. So you can do this without a band as well. So honestly, all you're going to do is just a few squats. And then you can also do a slight crab walk whilst you're in that low squat position. So you're going to be waking up the glutes, because again, we want them to be nice and strong so they can support the upward motion of our running, okay? Oh my goodness, a chair. For this one, you're going to need a chair. So from here, let's see if I can put the chair here. So from here, again, it looks super simple, but it is just going to wake up our hip flexors, especially if we've been sitting down all day. So you're just going to be sitting in a right angle, and then again, you are lifting up your foot, but the entire movement is coming from your hips. So we're just going to go 6. So that's 1, 2, 3. And as we're doing this, you do not want to have any rotation in the body. Because again, think about it, when we're running, if you start kind of, as you fatigue, you might start getting your twist on. And again, that's then going to put different strains on each leg that can lead to injury, essentially. So you just want to make sure we're really focusing that it is all coming from the tops of our thighs. Because like, it's pretty easy if you're like this. That's not what we want. We want to make sure we're nice and neutral spine and the movement is purely coming, oh, I wonder what it looks like on camera, but the movement is purely coming from this region and the tops of our thighs. So waking them up. You can also do this one. We don't need this chair, goodbye chair. You can also do this one if you're being super strong on the floor, legs out straight. Again, nice neutral spine, and you're just lifting up your legs. Oh, this one is a killer. It's honestly like the slightest movement, but you are going to feel it waking up in your quads. From here, since we're on the floor, you're going to want to do some movements to wake up the hamstrings. So you're going to be lying on the floor, almost in like a small glute bridge. And from here, you want your toes pointing up towards the sky, and you're just going to be kicking your legs out, almost straight, and bringing them back in. So do that 2 or 3 times, and you're really going to feel your hamstrings waking up. Again, try and keep those hips as neutral as you can, like resting a little teacup here. And you're just trying to keep it as neutral, as little sway. Because again, think about it this way. Do we want to use our well-earned energy swaying the body and doing any sort of rotational movement when running is all about heading forwards and propelling all our energy in a straight line forwards? No, so you might as well conserve that energy, reduce as much rotation as you can. Your joints will thank you, your IT band will thank you, and your knees will thank you. So definitely always try and work on keeping those hips as square as possible. This brings me on to hip placement in general when running. So you want to make sure you are staying quite upright when you run, and your hips are tucked under. So you almost feel like your hip points are being pulled forwards, okay? So you're almost leading with your hips. We're not running like this, but we're leading with our hips. Because again, if you have any sort of lordosis of the spine, so your bum's sticking out too much, you're not going to be utilising the correct muscles when you're running. And in that way, you might then get strange muscular pain because your body's trying to essentially compensate because you're not utilising those nice big muscles in the quads and in the hamstrings because you've just got the wrong posture. So we're just going to slightly pull that hip forward so it's like just underneath us, standing up nice and straight. And again, we don't want too much rotational movement. We just want to focus on going forwards and backwards. This brings me on to how your posture should be when running up and downhill. When running downhill, you actually might want to adopt a slight hip forward position. You want to keep your chest nice, proud and open, and you almost want to lean back as you run downhill. Think about it this way, the impact that you're going to be getting, if you're really either striking with your toe or striking with your heel, that's going to go all up your legs, and think about that impact. That's when people complain about having things like shin splints and knee pain. It's just because it's unnecessary impact only on the lower half of the body. So you really want to almost lean back as you're going down a gradient. And again, when it comes to running uphill, you want to be thinking about driving your knees higher and almost taking slightly longer strides while almost leaning into it. We don't want to ever collapse in. We never want to collapse in when we're running. That then compromises our respiratory system, which I can get on into another video, but you just want to think about this. Your lungs are going to be, oh God, no, I'm in a cage. When you open up, you can then have more oxygen coming into the heart, to the muscles, flushed with oxygen, flushed with that hemoglobin, you'll be feeling good. So, running uphill, driving the knees up higher, whilst also sort of leaning into it, okay? That should help. You can see I'm getting warm, but that's because we're about to get out the door. The last thing we'll want to do is just to raise that heart rate, as well as then finally focus on those level hips. Again, I cannot stress to you enough, if you're dipping down on one side when you're running, it is going to have a real knock-on effect to your joints, and we do not want that. So always think hips level. So a great thing we can do is some high knees with a pause. So you're going to be working on that driving leg. So I'm going to be working on my left leg coming up. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, pause on the left leg, like so. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3. And when we're in that pause position, you want to make sure your hips are tracking forward, chest is up proud. Opposite arm, driving up, then we swap legs. So driving up with the right leg this time. Like so. As you can see, I'm absolutely getting my sweat on, but that's good. We're about to go out and run in the 3 degrees in the rain. So yeah, last one you can do, pop your shoes on. Again, encourage a nice neutral position, bringing your knee in, nice little hug, put it down, nice little hug. Oh, working on that balance. Again, it's one of those things you can be as stretched as you want, but if you're not strong in those supporting muscles when you're running, so you want to make sure strong glutes, strong quads, strong hamstrings, that is really going to assist you in your technique and your speed. Well guys, I hope that's helped. It might be a little bit choppy and changey because I just kind of have my own little routine before I head out the door, and it depends how much time I have. So I hope from this you can take a few tips and tricks. I can do a few more if you have more questions. I run anything from 1 mile sprints up to 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. I do them for fun. So yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know. Instagram, YouTube, email, carrier pigeon. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.